Good afternoon. So here we are. I'll show you guys now how I approach the shoes. And I figured after the last lesson with this, and I said, well, I don't really like working on the yellow until I've done all the other bits. I figured, well, I might as well show you the other bits as well. Almost like it was the obvious thing to do. So working on the shoes now. The shoes have been base coated in Rhinox hide and then given a wash of Agrag Surfshade. Now the colour I wasn't entirely too happy with, you know, and I'm sure you guys can do that. You can kind of see the amounts I've used there, you know, and you kind of see how not so neat I've been here, you know. So neatness isn't necessarily always a thing. All right, now I'm not entirely happy with the colour. So what you're going to get to experience here, right, is how I adjust things. Yeah, I mean, it's not a major adjustment, but I think really what I'm trying to say is, just because you've done something you didn't like with with your life, it doesn't mean a complete repaint is the answer. You know, you can do some minor adjustments in any steps that come after that. Not preceding, whatever the word is, I'm sure you'll tell me. So here we go. Colours: Abaddon Black, Dry Bark, Mornfang Brown, Steel Legion and XV88. Not as a mix, but sometimes I choose this one as a highlight, sometimes I choose this one as a highlight, and Screaming Skull. Alright, so they're your colour options, but whatever browns make you happy is also a good option. Now the black, I don't necessarily need that for now. What I would like is the Dry Bark. That's first. Boosh. Dry Bark's like the it's become a staple in almost all my painting, no matter what I'm painting really. Right, here we go. Dry Bark, things to watch. Yeah, watch my consistency. Yeah, watch my brush load. Right, here we go. So first, I'm just gonna start to outline. I know outline, but kind of block in all the areas. And really, this is like, you know, in Games Workshop we're doing the base coat shade highlight idea. When the washes came out, we really doing this, or doing that, should I say. And what does that mean? It means we're almost re-base coating it all. Yeah, leaving the darkest colours remaining from the colour below. So like I'd leave a real dark line between the sole and the side of the shoe. Yeah. I put the lamp there, you can see me paint better on the palette, can't you? The lamp sits right on my forehead when I do it this way though. What if I do it there? Anyway, you get the idea. Oops, wobbled a bit there. I don't worry about mistakes too much at this point, because that's where the black comes in. So what's the worst mistake I can make with what I've got here? Well, it's basically going into the places where I wanted shadow to be and filling it in with dried bark. No big deal, I'll just mix up a bit of the black into this mix and I'll put that shadow back in. So in fact, let's make that mistake by accident, on purpose, just to teach you guys. So here I am going around and whoops, I've gone right into that gap there. Yeah. It's important to do exercises like this because a lot of people freak out about mistakes and they use that as a reason to not paint. Well, it's actually a reason to paint some more. And, you know, not just in the idea of good practice, but to correct the mistake, you actually have to paint some more. You know, so embrace it. Embrace it. There we go. And you'll find that the difference in this original colour to this new colour is kind of negligible. It's hard to notice. There is a difference, but it's not that obvious. So I'm just going to go in with a little bit of the Mournfang into this mix. That'll really help your eye differentiate between what's what and what isn't. Yeah. Now, some of you may notice that I'm not doing every bit of every flat surface. You know, like say for example, here is more dried bark and here is more the Mournfang brown mix. Yeah, same on this little strip at the back here. Yeah. So I do vary things. There we go. Yeah, so the warmth of the Mournfang will really help your eye spot where everything is for later on. So it's quite thin, this paint now, but I'm going to carry on with it. By quite thin I meant too thin. Straight over the top there. I'm actually edge highlighting his, whatever this is, I'm going to call it his Velcro. Again, I'm not too worried. I've got a little wobble on here and there, but they don't bother me. One, because when I decide it's time to tighten up, that won't be a thing. Right, let's do all this again. So double pass. Again, hopefully those that have had lessons with me will be able to understand what they're seeing in this video a little bit more. No, that's the beauty of having lessons with me as well. I go into these things much deeper than I can when making a video. Why? Because, well, making a video requires the concentration of making a video. You know, but what this does give you is the opportunity to practice becoming aware of the tiny details of how I paint. Yeah, there's lots of subtlety going on, you know, and even then a lot of my students, they're still not necessarily aware of that subtlety visually, you know, like to recognize it, even though I've already told them or demonstrated to them. Yeah, there's a lot more than meets the eye, while at the same time, like I said in the last video, it is all about simplicity. How does that work, you might ask? Alright, there we go. Quite like that now. Let's bring some focus in. Yeah. So let's, for the sake of it, no, I'm half tempted to do this further towards the end, but I just want to show you now, and maybe the video will read this easier. It's basically the correction of the shadows. The video might not be reading it as well as I might like, so once I put these in, well, let's go darker. Let's go, I might just go pure black. There we go. Yeah, you can see that much better now. It almost looks too obvious. Let's go around these. Yeah, brilliant. So you see, I'm neatening up all my shadows, and that brings a lot more clarity to how I perceive the work I've already done on the model. And it'll help me aim at highlights easier as well. This little bit around here is a right little git to get to. There we go. Do the noises help? Yeah. Notice I've chosen a slightly lighter version of the shadow here, because I just want to do this line in here. I make this one quite neat, because hopefully it'll make the lines where I wobbled earlier on neater as well. Brilliant. There we go. Get rid of that. Stick with some Fang now. So steps 1 and 2 kind of going to be repeated again, if a little bit maybe smaller and a little bit maybe thinner in some instances, but notice I'm starting from the same place and working on things pretty much in the same order. Whoops, slipped there. In the same order as before. Helps me kind of rehearse a route, so I actually get quicker at things. It stops me getting lost. Stops me dancing around the model. I see a lot of people, oh, they'll do a bit here, they'll do a bit there, they'll do a bit there. It's actually slows them down, and subconsciously it kind of frustrates them. Let's get right behind there. I'm going to put a little line down the side of this, down the other side. So now edge highlighted that little strap at the back. Look how much paint I use. Look how it doesn't dry out that quick. What's that about? It's about developing the skill to understand how paint behaves on this surface which matches this surface, and if you can handle it here, you can handle it there. It's a good skill to have, wouldn't you agree? Not that I'm saying wet palettes are bad, but I like the uses that I've just described there. Right, tiny bit of water, let's take it from there. There we go. Let's get these in. 1, 2, straight over the top, straight over the top. Let's do this badger. I don't normally wiggle the brush like that, by the way, but there's just some little areas I missed that I just wanted to fill in. And there we go for the Fine Brown stage. slight mould line down the middle of his shoe there that I missed. Oh well. Alright, what should we do? I'll do a bit of both. Bit of Steel Legion drab, bit of XV88. Why not? Notice that I'm pretty much working in base paints. The idea that a paint only has one particular use is a bit stupid to me. All paints are good for painting with. So layer paints are great for base coating with. And base coats are great for layering with. Not that I agree with that term, layering. I think it's a bit of a misguided name to call something. Right, okay, so you might notice now that I'm pretty much going in with line highlights now. Edge highlights, line highlights, whatever you want to call them. So on the sole of his boot there, it was on the edge, so you might call it an edge highlight. Well, on the side of his boot here, there's no edge, is there? So it's a line. Call it what you want. It doesn't change what it actually is. Yeah, don't get hung up like everybody else on the stupid names you give things, because they'll just misguide you. How is layering a misguidance? Well, ask yourself this question. How is washing, dry brushing, glazing, base coating not a layer? How are you not layering those things? It's all a layer. Really, you want to think about what do you want to achieve with that layer and how best might that be achieved. You know, the funny thing, I put some effort into doing the soles of these shoes. Do you know what? When the static grass goes on, you can't see them at all. Hey ho. There we go. Again, no, just note again the simplicity with our work. I don't work that complex. I don't do anything. I say that. I said before, this subtlety that you might not be able to see. That's where the complexity lies. But to develop that complexity, you've got to work on the simplicity. Simplicity is where it is at. And then you start to learn something about your simplicity. The more competent and the more familiar you get with the simplicity, the more you open up to other opportunities within that simplicity. Just get a little edge highlight down the side there. Don't normally do side strokes, but when I do, almost done this now. Almost done. Go like that there. Let's get the top of this in. Notice I didn't finish the sole earlier on because I left some water there, and I knew if I carried on painting I'd just catch that puddle. Oops, and it'll screw up my layer of paint. Nobody wants that. I actually like doing leathers and things like that quite a lot. Ooh, can we keep this paint going? Look how little there is. Can we keep it going? Look at what I'm working with as well. Not a lot. Can we keep it going to the end of this stage? And yes, we can. There we go. Got some neatening to do around the sole of his shoe, maybe. Alright. I said we'd use X388, but I didn't. Bothered. Which I think is the kind of attitude more people should adopt. A little bit of that in there. This is really just for some real tippy highlighty type bits. So like I might do a little one right there, and that might even be too strong. We'll see when it dries. Having a lamp so it suits both me and you is a tricky thing. Oh, now the lamp's right anyway. Real fine highlights going on here. Wobbled there. Nice. Do around the back. Just there. Do this thing. Top. Just there. Do some of these bits. I think this guy is done. Might just go back in and adjust. Not adjust, but just put the deeper shade back in. Because some of the sole lines are a little bit wobbly. I'd neaten them up with this stage here. So like for example in here, just putting this in nice and sharp, neaten up where I wobbled, putting this in nice and sharp, bring some definition to his toe. Neaten this up nice and sharp will hide that puddle that I put in there earlier on. And is there anywhere else? Put that round there. And let's go again round his laces, because his laces could always do with more definition. And there you go. Bam. Once you done. Right, dudes. Remember, you can always give me a shout out for one of the lessons over the old internet. Been doing a couple of those recently. It's been nice getting back on the old bandwagon. Might make an adjustment to this later on, but there you go. Right, dudes, enjoy.